With the release of the trailer for the second season of The Mandalorian, there are a few questions that are raised. I think there's also an answer to a long-standing question. What was the name of the species that Yoda and the Youngling are from? We're going to look at that today. I'm Ollamh, and welcome to Geek Trivia, a Theory Edition.
Running up a mountain and climbing a tree, twisted like a snake and busy like bees. Don't know what the is wrong with me. Don't know what the is wrong with me. Pumping up the volume to 90 degrees, dancing to a song till I drop to my knees. Don't know what the is wrong with me. Don't know what the is wrong with me.
So in the first part of the trailer, the Mandalorian is told that he needs to return the Youngling to its own kind. Obviously, nobody knows who its own kind is, though. Or do they? It is stated that there are eons-old songs about Mandalore the Great fighting against an order of sorcerers called Jedi. This really stuck out in my mind as being kind of odd. The Mandalorian is set 10 years after the Battle of Yavin, which is 19 years after the Jedi Order was destroyed, meaning that it has been 29 years since the Jedi were all but wiped out. Even at this point, there are still known Jedi in existence. While most would believe that they are no longer a thing, they are hardly an ancient myth. They were still around when Han Solo was born, approximately 29 years before the Battle of Yavin, meaning he was about 10 years old when the Order was wiped out by Darth Vader. So why are they talking about eons-old songs instead of more recent tales of the Jedi Order? For that, we have to look at something that is no longer really canon, but might still be around in a different form: the Sith species. The Sith were an ancient species that had an abnormally high number of their species that were able to use the Force, to the point where the vast majority were Force users of one level or another. They tended to use their Force powers to control and dominate, and were either the founding of the Sith Order, or at least the basis for the Sith Order, lending their names to the Order itself. Now, the idea of a species so connected to the Force is not unheard of in current Star Wars canon. If we look at Yoda's species, we see that every single canon member is a Force user, with the adults being in the Jedi Order. Even the Youngling is powerful in the Force, able to use abilities without any training. That sounds a lot like the general idea of the Sith. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not saying that this species is the Sith, but very similar. If the Sith lent their name and ideology to the creation of an order, why wouldn't a diametrically opposed species do the same? In fact, the Sith species is believed to have been wiped out, though there are rumors of some possibly still being around. Notice that the Youngling species is also extremely rare, with Yoda being the last known member until the Mandalorian found the Youngling. With both Yoda and Yaddle, the only known female of the species in canon entries, being part of the Jedi Order, you would think that their species would be known to the Jedi. All we can say about them is that they belong to the same species and they are Jedi. But what if that isn't simply because they are part of the Jedi Order? I think that the songs being mentioned could be the early days of the Jedi Order, having been founded around the Jedi species. A species that is so strong in the Force that they are able to use it from a relatively young age without any training. A race that uses the Force like it is second nature to pick things up, and, most importantly, to protect others. This could be levitating a beast that is threatening a companion, or even using the Force choke against someone they see as an aggressor. If they happen to be short, three-fingered, and green, well, the symbolism of good and evil in the Star Wars universe would hold. The Sith are generally accepted as being red-skinned, much like a Sith lightsaber is red. In response to the red saber, a lot of Jedi use a saber that is green in color, like the one Luke Skywalker made for himself and the one that Yoda uses. So maybe if the Sith are still canon and red, then they would be countered by the Jedi species, which could reasonably be expected to be green. In fact, we know that the Force tends to try and keep things in balance. That was the prophecy of the Chosen One. They would bring balance to the Force. Unfortunately for the Jedi, bringing that balance meant culling the Jedi numbers down to 2, Yoda and Obi-Wan, to balance out the 2 Sith, Palpatine and Vader. The balance continues as Luke discovers his powers and Obi-Wan dies. Then Yoda dies and it's found out that Leia is a Force user as well. Even in the newest movie trilogy, we have Rey gaining powers in the Force as Kylo Ren is trained. Ultimately, I think there's pretty strong evidence that the Youngling is part of the Jedi species, a species that is strong in the Force, does not need training, and typically uses their powers to protect others. They are the counterpoint to the Sith species, which use their powers to dominate and control. The fact that Mandalore the Great fought against the Jedi eons ago would indicate they were trying to protect the galaxy from the Mandalorians, who are typically portrayed as being an aggressive species. And the fact that these songs are so old, it makes it likely that the Jedi Order was young in age, and therefore more likely that the Jedi species was still making up most of the ranks. That would explain why the songs came up while discussing returning the Youngling to its own kind. The people who are sorcerers or Force users and are small, green, with 3 digits and long ears. They not only describe people able to use the Force, but possibly describe most of the sorcerers as looking like the Youngling. That is my theory anyway. But now I'm interested in what you think. Do you think that the long-hidden species name of Yoda, Yaddle, and the Youngling is Jedi, and nobody noticed because all the known members were part of the Jedi Order? Is this leading to the possibility of exploring the origins of the Jedi and Sith Order? Or am I just grasping at straws and the only reason they look at old songs is the Mandalorians are more isolationists? I would love to hear your opinion in the comments down below. As always, thank you very much for watching. And don't forget to press the subscribe button down below so that you can stay tuned for more from Ollamh Productions. Cheerio! Hey, thanks for watching to the end. If you like our videos, you can help the channel grow by giving it a like and sharing it for others to enjoy. If you want to help the channel out even more, you can find our Patreon link right down there. And of course, other videos here to enjoy yourself.